Today our presentation will focus on being an effective teacher. The tips for being an effective teacher. Once you become effective, you will be helpful to your students. You become productive. It will give you opportunity to be assigned delegated responsibilities. That means that your appraisal will enable you to rise. So, and as you rise through the various ranks, you are rising to the top, which in our case is DG. So any teacher that enters the classroom, it is not the circuit supervisor that you are looking at. It is not the head teacher that you are looking at. It is not the director of education you are looking at. It's not the director general of education you are looking at. You are looking at yourself. And once you look at yourself and try to be effective, then you can be sure that your next focus will be students. And once you do well in being effective yourself and the results will show, what you do in the classroom will show how effective you are, then you are on your way to rise to the top. First and foremost, after training, any good organization should have orientation for the teachers who are coming. So that will be orientation for the teachers. And while the teachers are in the system, then the service should also give them in-service training. It is the same for any organization, because whether you call it retraining or in-service training, it means the same thing. For a teacher, you have two things that you watch. You watch your scheme of service, and you also watch your conditions of service. Once you understand that your scheme of service is to allow you to rise from the classroom teacher to director general, all things being equal, you will handle yourself very well. You also study and understand. So it will take time to split the scheme of service in other presentations and also look at the conditions of service in the Ghana Education Service in our different presentations. However, I want to emphasize on the effective teacher that before you can be effective, you must have what we call the scheme of work. There is nothing that can be successful on sustainable basis without a goal properly set. And we need to remember that this presentation is derived from our various presentations on goal setting. And so the scheme of work is the beginning of the classroom teacher's plan. And out of the scheme of work, the teacher must have lesson plans for each week. And once you are able to deliver very well, your scheme of work is up to task and plan, and then your lesson plan is effective, then you are good to go. Before you enter the classroom, within the course of the whole term, for instance, or in a situation where it's semester, within the course of the semester, you must have the entire semester or term being in the scheme of work. And for every week, you derive your lesson plan from the scheme of work. In presenting the lesson plan, you are not supposed to write teaching notes. The lesson plan, like all other plans, must have a form. Again, like the scheme of work, the condition of service, will take time to look at a lesson plan generally, just like all other action plans. A lesson plan is in the general framework of all action plans. The action plan could be for a day, it could be for a week, it could be for a term, and for that matter, a year. Now, an effective teacher inside the classroom presents the lesson according to the objectives that you set for yourself. And as you present, it is not going to be at the tertiary level, it's not going to be lecture notes, or it's not going to be by lecture method. It's going to be by activity. So you must make sure your activities are embedded in the lesson plan. And as you move on, you try to assess yourself and assess the students along. That is formative assessment. At the end of the lesson, you assess by giving students assignments, exercise, and that will be summative assessment. And then you give them homework and do a reflection on the next lesson. So in our next presentation, we will look at the lesson plan before we now take the effective teacher to look at why he has to do well, even starting with this, because this is what once you are entering the system, you will enter as a classroom teacher. And it is only when you become effective and the system, you pass through your probation period, that you can then say you want to look at how you progress from a classroom teacher to a manager. Let me say that nobody should think that there will be a classroom teacher and all you are born to do is to teach, because human beings are created to have goodwill, and to have discretion, and to have options and alternatives. Remember that we are economic beings. So the system should not think that they can be born managers and born teachers, and teachers who have no room to look at their scheme of work, scheme of service, and that they have opportunity to rise to their potential. Nobody, no educational authority in any part of the world should think that it's a good thing to do, because it is an embedded and intrinsic motivation for an effective classroom teacher to know that whether you decide to stay throughout, even when you have promotion to be a manager, you still want to be a classroom, then let the teacher decide. But the system should not limit anybody. And once you become an effective teacher, you must also understand the conditions of service, where you know of the rewards and sanctions for the various activities you undertake, and the various actions you take, and the consequences thereof. That way, you will know that when you do well, you will be motivated, and when you don't do well, there are sanctions for not doing well.